So much for joining our very first My Vivenda webinar. My name is Stefan and I'll be your host for today. For those of you who don't know, My Vivenda is a real estate marketing firm that focuses on solutions that help real estate agents win and promote new listings. Today's webinar will take about 15 minutes and afterwards we'll have some time for questions. So if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat throughout the webinar and I'll cover them towards the end. So if you don't get an immediate answer, don't worry about that. We'll look at them at the end. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the changes in the real estate industry over the last couple of years. We're going to talk about millennials and how to basically attract them. We're going to talk about listing presentations, and we'll finish off with a short demonstration, a short demo of a solution that can actually help you win a listing presentation and ultimately also promote it once you've won it. So if you can all hear me okay, then let's just dive right in. Personally, I've gone through the process of actually renting an apartment multiple times in different countries, and it was a frustrating and disappointing experience, to say the least. And that disappointment and frustration actually came from the fact that the lack of information was actually the key reason for that. There was often no proper visuals, there was no virtual tour available, not enough details, no neighborhood information. And ultimately that forced me to go and personally visit, 15, 20 apartments over a period of a couple of weekends and spend my entire evenings doing so. There were at least half of those, the second I set foot in that apartment, I knew it wasn't for me, and I knew that could have been avoided. So especially the initial research phase was something that was really frustrating to me, because I know that there is an alternative to actually doing it like that. So it should be a fun experience, but I'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. In the real estate industry, we've seen quite a few changes in recent years, especially with regards to how properties are marketed online. And what I found very interesting is that almost 50% of all real estate firms say keeping up with technology is one of the biggest challenges in the next 2 years. And it's a very interesting statistic, because the largest group of first-time home buyers are actually the millennials at 65%, which is a very large group. And the funny thing is that the millennials, they grew up with technology. That's all they know. They have no problem using that on a daily basis. So that's an interesting difference, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. So even though a lot of these real estate firms consider keeping up with technology a big challenge, the real question is why? Why am I using these technologies? How can that help me, and how can it help my clients? To figure out the why. That's, if you're not really sure about why you're using this, then obviously everything that you do seems like a huge challenge with these new technologies out there. So, to figure out the why, we need to figure out who it is that we're targeting and what it is that they want. So, if you talk about the millennials, what they want is not very different from what anybody else actually wants. The big difference here is that the millennials are super, super skilled at using technology to get what they want faster. So what they want is actually three simple things. Number one is control. They want to have control over the research phase of the home buying process. You can give them that control by actually providing them with the information that they're looking for, because that control just comes from the fact that they don't want to, like I said, waste a lot of time, and they just want to have that control from home. And they spend the majority of their time online on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. So, if you're not actually using social media to promote your listings, then you're losing a huge, huge opportunity. So that's number one, control. Then number two would be convenience. Make it easy for them to find you as a realtor, make it easy for them to find your listings, and ultimately, once they found you, make sure that you keep them engaged with the information that you actually provided. If you've taken all that effort, if you put in all that effort to actually get them to whatever pages is that you're provided and your listing. And if you can't keep them engaged for more than a couple minutes, that's sort of a waste of effort. And convenience is a big thing for millennials. Let's say 30 years ago it was cool to have a Ferrari on the front porch, and yeah, sure, it's still cool, but people really wanted that. Whereas right now millennials go, I just open an app and get a fancy car to pick me up and drive me from point A to point B. I just get an Uber. So that convenience is something that is really important. That's very transferable. You can see that in the real estate industry as well. And then number 3 would be saving time and not wasting time. And that's what I just talked about with regard, about in my own story. They just don't want to spend their entire evenings or their entire weekends driving around, and looking at properties that they know they might not really be interested in. And the frustration really comes from the fact that we know that we can cut the number of visits in half, or maybe even down to 3 or 5 if the right information is provided online. And if not, you're forcing them to actually go out and visit all of these properties. And they are actually really, really important. But you can save every single person, the seller, the buyer, and you as an agent, a lot of time by providing this information. And actually not doing that is a strength. Because if you're not providing that information in the hope that they then will pick up the phone and call you to make an appointment to go and see you, that's actually not going to happen. The opposite is going to be true. If there's not enough information, they just move on to the next apartment, next home. That's usually how it goes. So now that we know a little bit about what millennials basically are looking for, control, convenience, and saving as much time as they can, I want you to take that information, remember it, and we can now use that during listing presentations. So let's talk about listing presentations for a little bit. They are absolutely crucial for you to actually win listings right now. Because if you don't win a listing, if you don't have an exclusive listings, there's nothing to promote. So during those listing presentations, you have to, this is a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true, you have to stand out, right? You have to show that you understand the market, that you understand who you're targeting, that you know what it is that they want, and that you know how to basically target them. And all of that, at the same time, you have to show that you can make the process easy and smooth for the seller. And, talking about marketing tools to them, if you say, okay, I'm going to promote it on property portals or MLS, or you're going to be available on my website, it's not going to do that much. It's not going to impress them, because that's what every single agent is doing. All of your competitors, all of your competition is doing the exact same thing. And at the same time, if you're throwing a bunch of marketing tools and technologies at them, they're going to be like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that? There's a chance that they won't understand. There's also a chance that they won't even really care. So what you want to do is actually tell a story. You want to tell a story. You want to turn the technologies and you want to turn the tools that you have into a story that they will understand, right? That can truly make a difference. So this is an idea of what you could potentially say. So when you're at a listing presentation, you're going to say, well, first of all, I'm going to create a virtual tour, not a video tour, an actual 360-degree virtual tour of your property, of your home. Now, once I've done that, that means that people can virtually walk through your space, through your home online, and it gives them a much better idea of the space in general, right? That's step 1. And then step 2 would be, I'm not only going to create that tour, I'm going to create a specific website just for your property that includes the 360 virtual tour, that includes property details. It includes high quality images, high quality photos. It includes neighborhood information, because neighborhood information, I think, is often overlooked. What is around the neighborhood, photos of the neighborhood. And ultimately, when I then start promoting this on social media, where every single millennial is active multiple hours a day, where our target is actually active, everybody is active on social media, when they actually land on that page, first of all, they won't get distracted by any other potential properties that would be the case if they go to a standard property portal. That will happen, and it keeps them engaged, right? Because there's enough information there. There's exactly what they're looking for. It keeps them engaged for longer. Now, once they decide, okay, this is something that I might actually want to visit, there is a possibility to make an appointment with me, right, at my office, and they can come to my office. And if you want to take it one step further as an agent, you would take virtual reality glasses and use VR. You can even use it during your listing presentation. But secondly, when people make an appointment to come to see your office, you can do a virtual walkthrough using VR right now, which is actually, the technology is not that complicated to use nowadays. And then if they have any questions, I'll answer it for them. And if they say, well, this is something that, it looks really cool, I really want to go and visit, then we come to your home and we visit the place, but when they actually come here, it won't be the first, second, or third time that they look at this property. It feels like the fourth or the fifth time because they've already done these walkthroughs. And what we're going to avoid is have people step into the place and immediately feel that it's not for them, right? Those surprises are going to be gone, and that saves all of us a lot of time. So you're now using technologies and you're now using marketing tools, and you're explaining to them why that actually is going to help them, right? Why that's going to help the process for them. So when you're giving this pitch and when you're explaining this type of story, and you can give them an idea of how this has helped with the previous listing, which again it's about the story, you're going to actually show a landing page, so a single property website. Now, during a listing presentation, you're not going to use the word landing page because people won't really understand, but a specific website, people will get that. So let me just give you an example of what that might potentially look like. So let me share my screen with you. Give me a couple of seconds, then we'll be ready. I think we're almost there. All right, okay, I think you can see my screen right now. So you should be able to see a landing page right here. So let me just walk you through what this could look like and how you can truly impress with this during a listing presentation. So first of all, you'd see branding in the top left corner. I have the My Vivenda branding on here, but it could be your own company logo. And then you see the colors that are used. In this case, it's orange and black. And orange and black are part of company colors, so I use them, but you can customize those, and that will then come back throughout the whole page, which then looks like it's your own, your own website, or a website that reflects your own company branding, which is great. And the very first thing that you see is the 360-degree virtual tour. So this is the first thing that you want to showcase. This is what it's all about, right? So when you click on that button, it shows the tour, and you can virtually walk through that place by clicking on the different hotspots. Now, creating a virtual tour nowadays is not that expensive. It's not that hard. You have companies that can do it for you. You can also do it yourself using a smartphone. You have tons of providers that can do this very, very affordably. All right, then when you go down, this is where the property details come in. So you see the address of the property, the price, a description, and important features. So important features might include, the number of bathrooms, the type of house, how big it is, energy label, that type of information. And the beauty is you'll have all this information readily available when you have a new listing. So it literally is copy paste. Then when you go down, you have high quality photos. Yes, high quality photos are still important. But in combination with a virtual tour, that's the key. It has to be a combination of both, not just the virtual tour, not just the high quality photos, but both of them together. And you will have you can add a description below every single photo that you showcase. All right, then we get to a section that like I said, I think is often overlooked. It's the neighborhood section. So first of all, you'll see a short description of the neighborhood and then a little map with the location of your property. And you can then see, you can choose a different, well, icon. It could be the supermarket or a bus station or a hospital. And you can then see how many supermarkets there are close to the property. You can even see the name of it and how many there are. So you can do that with a supermarket. You can do that with a doctor or a hospital. And the radius of the map, you can decide yourself. So if you say, I want to show that in 5 kilometers or 10 or 25, that's up to you. So, this stuff is really, really important. And then there's one other thing that I want to show you, which is the shadows. I've never seen that anywhere else before. Shadows actually show you the property. So it'll show you the property, and then you can actually drag the date and the time at the bottom. And you'll see that it then showcases the shadow, how the sun basically, the sunlight basically falls on top of the property and how that influences the shadow. So I think that's really, really sweet. Something that I haven't seen before, and actually something that is an important factor in, with regards to where the property is located. So then you get to, average age, average salary, air quality, also things that I rarely see on, on websites or on listings, even though that is stuff that I want to know in the neighborhood. And we get to the neighborhood photos at the bottom. This might be something that is not readily available to you, but try and get them, because if there are a couple of nice cafes in the neighborhood, if there's a beautiful park or an entertainment park, put it up there, because that's stuff that people and potential buyers want to know. They want to know what's around the neighborhood, and very often, especially millennials, the generation that is sort of my age. They know exactly what neighborhood they want to live in. They know exactly, even the area within the neighborhood that they want to live in, and they look for that. And that actually is interesting, because every single URL of a landing page is the company name, your own company name that you've put in, and the address of the property. So that can actually help with search engine optimization as well, if people actually search. But it's mainly for, if you promote this on social media, that you have a page that people can land on and truly feel, you can truly engage them with that. Then you get to utilities and other information that you can provide at the bottom. Another photo and a call to action. So booking a tour. In this case, it says book a tour, which then means, okay, I'm really interested. I want to go and see this property, or I want to go and visit the real estate agent's office. And here it says book a tour, because the idea is that you then go to the office and use virtual reality to actually tour this property again. But you can also change this, so you can also turn that into book a meeting or a book a visit, and all the booking fields, you can change them, or you can add additional booking fields to it. Just make sure that it fits your own process that you are personally comfortable with, right? That fits your company and your strategy. So if you say, well, I want people to go to visit this property right after they've seen this whole page, then you can turn it into book a visit. So that is totally possible, really, really easy to do. And at the bottom you have, if you have a newsletter, people can sign up for that, Instagram pages, and your contact information if they want to call you directly, for example. Now, once people actually enter their information here, you will receive an email directly, and you'll see who booked a meeting with you or booked a tour with you, with the date and the time and their contact information. Now, you see that this is what someone is looking for when they're basically looking at a property. All of the information that they could possibly think of online that can truly give them a good idea of whether or not they want to visit that property or visit the home. You can actually create this in under 10 minutes, and the branding, it can look like your own company branding. So it's really, really easy to do, because all the information is basically available to you, the majority of it, 90% of it. What's really, really important, one thing that is really, really crucial here, let me just go back. All right, so what's really, really important here is that this specific landing page is not a substitution, is not a substitute for your own website, for a property portal, or for a company website. It's specifically to win a listing. And I hope that the information that I gave you today was helpful with that. So it's an additional tool that can help you in a listing, and ultimately you can also use it to promote the property on social media. But you're still going to use your property portals, MLS. You're still going to use your listed on your own website and your company website maybe. That it can work together to actually create a full experience. So it's definitely not there to replace any of those other marketing tools that you're currently using, because they are effective, but they're not impressing anyone during a listing presentation. And this sort of story, this landing, single property website plus a virtual tour can actually help you win new listings. So that's what I wanted to go through today. I see that I've gone over time with 5 minutes. If there are any questions, then I'd be happy to answer them now. If not, that's also okay. I don't see any questions right now. You can always contact me. Let me just type my email address. There you go. So I want to thank you all very, very much for joining me today, joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, that you can take something away from it. If you have any feedback, if you agree, if you don't agree, we'd love to hear about that. We'd love to have a discussion about it. If you want to learn more about our solutions, if you want to learn more about how to create a landing page like that, or virtual tours for that matter, you can reach out to me directly or reach out to us directly. And we'd be happy to set up a one-on-one call with any of you. I think that's it for today. There are no questions so far. We can always have questions at a later stage. I want to thank you all very, very much. Please have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of the week, and we hope to see you during our next webinar. Thanks a lot, and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.